A chilly breeze whistles through the attic as Celine stumbles upon an eerie clown doll. It's a day like any other, and she's in the midst of a long overdue cleaning spree. The attic, a dusty labyrinth of forgotten memories and discarded items, holds a peculiar charm. But today it's not the nostalgia that grips her, but a sense of unease. Nestled in a corner, obscured by a pile of worn-out books, she finds it. A clown doll. Its garish colours a stark contrast against the sepia-toned surroundings. There's something strangely off-putting about it. Its wide, red smile, too wide for comfort, seems to stretch across its porcelain face in a grotesque grin. And then there are the eyes, glassy, vacant, yet piercing, as if they're looking right through her. She picks up the doll, the cold porcelain chilling her fingertips. There's a certain heaviness to it, a disturbing gravity that makes her stomach churn. She can't quite put her finger on it, but there's an inexplicable dread that washes over her. Her mind races, trying to remember where this doll came from, but there's no recollection, no memory of ever seeing this doll. It's as if it just appeared, materialized out of thin air. The thought sends a shiver down her spine. She shakes her head, dismissing her unease. It's just a doll, she tells herself, a mere child's plaything. But try as she might, she can't shake off the sense of foreboding. The doll's glassy eyes seem to bore into her, its eerie smile etched into her mind. She decides to get rid of it, to throw it away and forget about its existence. She walks down the creaky attic stairs, the clown doll in hand. The house seems eerily quiet, the silence punctuated only by her own heartbeat. With a shudder, she tosses the clown doll into the bin, unaware of the sinister events about to unfold. Night falls, and the house creaks with unseen presences. As the moon rises, casting long, eerie shadows across the rooms, an unsettling symphony of noises begins to fill the air. Celine, alone in her home, can't shake off the feeling that something is amiss. It's as if the very walls of the house are whispering secrets, secrets that send shivers down her spine. Suddenly the silence is broken by the sound of laughter. It's not a hearty, friendly laugh, but a high-pitched, maniacal giggle that seems to seep out from the depths of the house itself. Startled, she follows the sound, her heart pounding in her chest. The laughter grows louder, more insistent, and is joined by the faint but unmistakable sound of footsteps. She enters the living room, the laughter now a deafening cacophony in her ears. And there, in the dim light, she sees it. A clown. It's not the doll she threw out earlier. This one is real, alive. It's standing there in the middle of the room, grinning at her. Its eyes, two black voids, seem to bore into her very soul, and its red, twisted smile stretches unnaturally wide across its face. The clown doesn't move. It just stands there, its grin never wavering, its eyes never leaving her. It's as though it's drinking in her fear, feeding off her terror. The room is filled with its laughter, a sound that's sure to haunt her nightmares for many nights to come. Suddenly the clown takes a step towards her, its footfalls heavy and deliberate. She can't move, can't breathe. It's as if she's entranced by the clown's hypnotic gaze. But then the spell breaks, and with a scream that tears through the silence, she turns and runs, bolting from the room. With a scream, she flees the room, the clown's laughter echoing behind her. The chase has begun, the clown has made its move, and the night is far from over. Her home, once a sanctuary, is now a house of horrors. The eerie calm that once filled her humble abode has been replaced by a chilling cacophony of laughter. The laughter, however, is not of joy or happiness, but of pure, unadulterated terror. Suddenly, the sound of a creaking door echoes through the house. One by one, 6 more clowns start to emerge. Their faces are painted with grotesque smiles, their eyes gleaming with malicious intent. Each one is more horrific than the last. Their garish outfits a stark contrast to the once peaceful ambience of the home. Celine finds herself being pursued relentlessly. The clowns chase her from room to room, their laughter growing louder and more menacing with each passing second. The once familiar hallways now seem like a labyrinth of fear, every corner potentially hiding another nightmarish figure. She can hear the clowns' oversized shoes slapping against the hardwood floors, their bulbous red noses honking in delight as they close in on her. The air is thick with the scent of grease paint and fear, a sickly sweet combination that sends shivers down her spine. She runs, her heart pounding in her chest like a frantic drumbeat, echoing her rising panic. The walls of her home, once comforting and welcoming, now seem to close in on her, the clown's laughter echoing off the once comforting wallpaper. A dead end. She finds herself cornered in the last room, her bedroom, the grotesque figures looming over her, their laughter echoing in her ears. She can see their sharp, gleaming teeth, their hungry eyes filled with anticipation. The fear, the terror, the utter horror of it all threatens to swallow her whole. But she doesn't falter, she doesn't break. She stands her ground, her eyes blazing with determination. She's not ready to give in to this clown-infested nightmare. Cornered and terrified, she backs up into her closet, slides the door open to slowly pull out a bowie knife, and braces herself for a fight. The laughter stops. The clowns are silent. The final showdown is about to begin. Armed with determination, she faces the clowns. Our protagonist, a woman of steel and nerve, confronts the terrifying apparitions that have invaded her home. She's ready to reclaim her space, her sanctuary, from these nightmarish jesters. With each heartbeat echoing in her chest, she steps forward, the cold steel of the knife glinting in her hand. The clowns, grotesque and menacing, don't seem to intimidate her anymore. She's taken control of her fear, transforming it into a weapon more potent than any knife. She lunges at the first clown, the blade slicing through the air. The clown, caught off guard, falls, its laughter turning into a gurgling growl. One down. She spins around, blocking an attack from another clown with the back of her knife. A swift kick, and the second clown crumbles to the floor. 2 down. She fights with a ferocity she didn't know she possessed, each clown she faces succumbing to her relentless onslaught. The house that was once filled with the eerie laughter of the clowns begins to quieten. She's winning, reclaiming her home, one room at a time. But as she takes down the last clown, a heavy silence descends upon the house. The only sound is her laboured breathing and the distant ticking of a clock. She stands in the middle of her living room, the once menacing clowns now just lifeless piles of fabric on her floor. Triumphant, she breathes a sigh of relief. She's won, she's survived. But as she lowers her knife, a shiver runs down her spine. Something doesn't feel right. The silence is too heavy, the victory too easy. The battle may be over, but the war, it seems, is far from done. Suddenly she feels a strange sensation, a tingling in her cheeks, an odd feeling like 1,000 little insects crawling beneath her skin. It's a sensation she can't quite place, a sensation that sends a shiver down her spine. There's a mirror nearby. She moves towards it, her steps slow and hesitant. Her heart pounds in her chest like a drum echoing in the silence of her home. Her reflection comes into view, and she gasps at the sight. The woman she once knew is no longer there. Her hair, once a beautiful shade of chestnut, is now a fiery, unnatural red. It has a life of its own, curling and twisting in a wild dance atop her head. It's a stark contrast against her now ashen skin, a shade of white so pale it's almost translucent. Then her eyes. They're no longer the warm brown they once were. They've turned a startling shade of blue, so bright they seem to glow in the dim light of the room, and they're wide, so wide, filled with fear and a hint of something else, something sinister. Her lips, they're no longer hers. They've stretched wide, forming a horrific crimson smile that's so out of place on her face. It's a smile that's not hers, a twisted mockery of the joy it's supposed to represent. She can't tear her eyes away from the reflection. The transformation is horrifying, yet fascinating in a morbid way. She reaches up, touches her cheek, and her fingers come away smeared with white paint. Then the laughter starts. High, shrill, and utterly chilling, it bounces off the walls of the house, filling every nook and cranny with its haunting echo. It's her laugh, yet it's not. It's the laughter of a clown, a creature she's become. In the mirror, a clown stares back at her, laughter echoing through the now silent house. Behind her, sitting on the floor, the clown doll she discarded watches her transformation as the porcelain cracks around its lips, slowly, revealing a smile and the doll's malevolent glee before Celine's blood-curdling scream can be heard.